Hey y'all, it's Courtney. I'm back with another video, and as you can read from the title, we are talking about inner child work. Speaking of which, if you hear a noise, my children are upstairs playing ping pong, so bear with me. On this channel, we discuss holistic healing as a way to connect us more with ourselves. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. Please subscribe so you can stay abreast of the different videos and postings. And if you are already a subscriber, welcome back. All right, so let's talk about inner child work. First of all, if you do not know what inner child work is, it is basically you exploring the different spaces of your childhood, the little girl, little boy, little person that still lives or resides within you. Or also we want to give space for the teenager also that is living within us, right? A lot of times we focus on inner child work as something that is just primarily focused on little people, right? But some pretty big things happen during our teen years. And so sometimes the pain or the experiences of those get overlooked because we were more in a bigger body. And so we kind of think of like inner child work as just children, like little small children. I think right now that this is a great time to talk about it. We are in the holiday season. And so inner child work, we see the joy of children and also the pain of children in this season, which I think really invites us to kind of go back and explore our own childhood and our own teen years. I want to say that my disclaimer is I am not a therapist. I am a yoga instructor and mindfulness teacher. So if you need some additional support, I highly recommend that you find a therapist in your area that you can connect with that really supports you in doing this work. Okay? Because guys, sometimes it can be really heavy. And so as we begin to explore the conversation of inner child work, I want to just take a moment before we start to just close our eyes and really connect with ourselves and ask ourselves, are we even ready to begin this work? And if you heard a yes, then I would encourage you to proceed forward with this video. If you heard a no, maybe you listen and then you start to explore this topic at another date or with a certified professional. So as I mentioned, we're in holiday season, and for a lot of us that might bring up some really great feelings, and for others it might bring up some really negative feelings, and then a lot of us might be right there in the middle. So as you start to think about your childhood, as you start to think about your teen years, I want you to explore what emotions come up for us, what things, what feelings do we have. And I think that the things that come most prevalent are a opportunity for us to really connect with ourselves. So let's talk about the first way we can process some of our inner child work. So one is through meditation. I took you through like a very mini inner child exercise where you just kind of sat with yourself and connected to that image of the teen you or the child you, and just ask for permission, right? Consent is something that a lot of children do not get the opportunity to experience or practice in their childhood. And so right now, as we're beginning to reparent ourselves, asking ourselves for permission, giving our inner child the opportunity to grant consent to even having this conversation is a deeply healing practice. So when you're doing that, when you're approaching inner child work, I really want you to start thinking about those little things that we might have bypassed, right? But they're really showing up now, where we feel like we weren't even granted permission. We didn't have ownership over ourselves, over our body, over our experiences. And a way to ease ourselves in is just to ask our inner child for permission. As you start to go into that work, I do have a body scan on Insight Timer. So if you want to do a longer meditation, please check me out there at One Sun, Three Flowers. And you can go into a more deep experience and really ask ourselves, really hold that inner child. Because the idea is that we are reparenting, we are re-experiencing those experiences, emotions, and feelings, the programming that was existed in our childhood and our teen years, but with the assumption that we have new information, right? So if you were to sit with your inner child, if I was to bring up an image of little Courtney in my mind, or teen Courtney, and I relive some of the experiences that hurt me, that made me sad, that made me frustrated, what information would I tell her today? How would I speak to her? How would I support her? How would I affirm her, right? So now we're starting to talk about the different modalities of how we can practice inner child work. What would you say to yourself? You know? And so in doing that, it's really interesting to see what comes up. And for me personally, some of these conversations come up, and I'm able to just, like, I don't always have the solution and answer, right? Our adult mind feels like we're always capable of solving everything. And something that I've learned that I feel like is really gracious, really soft and intentional with myself, is to not always want to provide a solution, because that's the thing too. Maybe as a child you never felt heard, right? Maybe you never felt seen. So as in my adult mind, talking to my inner child, I'm quick to want to offer a solution, this new wisdom that I have, this new evolution that I now have. I want to show up and grant little Courtney information. But sometimes healing is just allowing your big self to sit with your younger self and affirm, like, that does suck. That was hard. That is frustrating. That is disappointing. Just honoring the truth, just acknowledgement, right? That's a really simple and deeply important way of honoring our inner child. Another way we can do that beyond meditation, my second go-to, journaling, talking about the different experiences. You can do side-by-side journaling. Like, if you all remember school, right? If you're an adult and you think about school, we kind of had 2-column notes, right? And I understand for some of you all, there's trauma even seated in schooling, but just walk with me. One side, you tell your story. Like, this is the experience. It was really hard for me. These were the emotions I felt. This is what was said to me. And then on the other side, you can write about, you can either affirm that child, you can write a new story for yourself. You can ask some questions. Like, all of it doesn't have to be mental. You can write it out, right? Speaking of writing, if it's something that you really want to release, you can write it out and then hold on to that, right? Because we just had a new moon in Capricorn, but we'll have a full moon coming in a few weeks. And full moons are a great opportunity for us to release information, right? Let's release how we feel. Or the experiences we have. And how would we do that? Well, we can burn that paper, right? Like, read it out loud. Apologize to that inner child if it's appropriate. Hold space for that child. Maybe hug yourself in a meditation, and we're going to burn it. We're going to say that this is no longer our story, or we have new truth and new information. Maybe we're going to affirm that we did the best we could in that situation. Maybe we affirm that the people around us didn't show up for us the way we needed to do. But we're going to release it, not because we're letting them get away with anything. Right? We're not letting people mistreat us. I'm not an advocate of that. We're releasing it because we no longer want that energy, that vibration, that sadness to sit within us energetically. So the release would be to burn it. I don't know how your homes are set up or what you have, but I do want to just caution for you all to practice safety in that, right? Fire, when you're burning something, figure out a safe way to burn and release. Something that will not be dangerous to you, okay? And this is really for my people 18 and up. If you're under 18, I highly suggest that you consult the adult of the home. And last but not least, I would recommend yoga. Yoga is a great way for us to move emotions through our body energetically. Sometimes I meditate on things, sometimes I write on things, but none of that is enough. Sometimes I need to physically get up and move. And so child's pose, where I'm holding myself, is deeply healing. Going through heart openers, right? Cobra pose, upward facing dog, allowing my heart to be open, allowing myself to affirm myself and releasing some of those emotions, allowing myself to sometimes just sit there and just I'm releasing sadness. I'm releasing the experiences of teen Courtney. I'm releasing the anger from little Courtney. I'm releasing, adding an affirmation in combination to your yoga practice will be really helpful when you think about how we can get rid of and begin some of this inner child work. So I hope that helps. If you would like a part 2, comment down below. If you're still here, that means you like the video.